So here we are in our fresh WordPress install on the dashboard. You can see that there's quite a few sort of messages and things up on the dashboard, and you've got the basic WordPress menus here. We haven't installed anything yet. This is a brand new install, first time we log into WordPress. Now, there are a few things that I want to do first before I start setting up the basic settings for WordPress, and that is going to the screen options at the top here and then just unticking a few of them. So starting just so that we can clean up our dashboard a little bit, because otherwise it gets a bit too busy there. So I'm not interested in the welcome, no events and news, no quick drafts, no activity, at a glance, maybe health status and PHP update recommended. So PHP is just the code that makes up WordPress, or some of the code that makes up WordPress, and PHP does release, or there are sometimes new releases of the PHP code, which, as you can see here already on the dashboard, it says that we are running 7.3 and we should upgrade to 7.4. I'll show in a bit how that's done. But yeah, let's keep the PHP update recommended switched on there. So if I close this, you can see I only have my PHP update and my health status over here. Now, I think the first thing we probably want to take care of is to just make sure that this notice go away. And before we start anything else, really, let's just get our PHP updated, because it's also, with these updates come bug fixes and security fixes and things like that. Okay, so the way you do that is you have to now go back out of WordPress, and you have to log into your cPanel account. So if I just do that over here, so if I just log in here, I think that's the address. Let's see if we've got the correct. I'm just copying the password. It's one of those passwords that you can't really type. Oh, it's challenging me. So motorcycles. I think that's it. Oh, there we go. Okay, all right, so I want to go to cPanel. All right, okay, so the thing you want to look out for is PHP. So if you scroll down, you will see under software, you'll see select PHP version. Now you could also search for PHP here, but I know it's under software. I just scroll down and there it is. So I click on it and it's going to tell me now what version my site is on. So you can ignore these tick boxes and things down here, you know, unless you really know what you're looking for, just leave that default. So what we want to do is we want to upgrade this, or update it to 7.4. Now you'll see there are 8 and 8.1 and so on, but just go with the next version, because otherwise we may start breaking stuff. And also, importantly, the reason I'm doing this now on my sort of live site is because I've got absolutely nothing on that site. It's a brand new WordPress installation. There's no content on there, no configuration, nothing. So, you know, I don't care if I break it. But if you have a live site with content on it and visitors, you know, frequent visitors coming to your site and so on, you may want to do the PHP update in a staging area first before you do it in live, just to check if it's going to break anything. So there's a different video, a separate video for, you know, creating a staging area within WordPress. But yeah, so that's the only reason I'm doing it here. So 7.4 set as current, and it's taking a little bit. Yeah, and there we go. So it should be okay now. So if I go back to my WordPress site, I'm just going to refresh the page. See, the warning or the notice disappeared. And if I go to my blog, visit my site, you can see it's you know, it's running fine. So it didn't break anything. So that's good news. Okay. So that is the first bit that I wanted to take care of. Now, the next thing I want to do is I want to go and have a look at my themes, because I've got an idea of which theme I want. I want GeneratePress. I'm just using GeneratePress as a blog theme because I know I've tested a few themes throughout the course of time, and I've built a few blogs. So I know that the GeneratePress theme is one of the quickest out there. It's a very simple, lightweight theme. And if you don't want anything really fancy or you know, something really functionally rich, then you know, GeneratePress is absolutely fine. So we go to Appearance, and under Appearance we'll find Themes. So I click on Appearance, Themes, and then we can see we've got a few themes here. Now these themes come standard or with the fresh WordPress installation. And these are the three that I've got here. I want to add GeneratePress. So what I do is I go add new, and I can search for it by typing in GeneratePress. I can already see it down there, but let me just type it, generate. So there we go. So there's GeneratePress. So you can click on it to look at the details and so on, but I'm just going to click install. And once you have that, you can click activate. So now if I just quickly go to look at my site, so you can see now it's a different layout. So this is going to be my basic layout for my blog, and I've got some components here, so we can have a look at how we manipulate those bits a bit later. So I go back into my dashboard, back into Appearance and Themes. So you'll see you've got these other themes hanging around as well, which, you know, we don't use because we've got GeneratePress activated. Now, just to keep things nice and tidy and clean, and also, you know, the more sort of extra themes you have, the more files you've got on your web server, and, you know, and the more opportunity if somebody or malicious script or virus or malware, anything comes in, you know, and if these themes are not secure, you know, there could be some trouble there. I just like to keep things clean. So what I do is, I think my face is in the way. Let me just, yeah. So behind me, there's a delete button. You probably wouldn't see that. So just down here, there's a delete button behind where I sit. So just delete that, and then the next one. So again, just behind me. There we go. And this one, let's delete that. Okay. Okay, so I've deleted those now. So I've only got this my GeneratePress theme going here. And yeah, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to customize our theme. So what we want to do is, before we start putting content on our site or on our blog, we just want to set sort of the basics. We want to set the basic colors, the sort of theme that we're going to use throughout, and we want to set our basic fonts, our basic layouts and things like that, just to make it nice and consistent, and also so you don't have to fiddle with that later on or each time you want to post something or so. Yeah, so it's just the basic settings to get us going. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to go to Appearance and Customize. We want to customize our theme. So you can see here, It's got the generate press layout, and so each theme, if you click on customize, will have their own bits and pieces over here, or bits of configuration, functionality layout over here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start off with site identity, and of course I'm going to change the name to Doggo Info, which is the site's name. I'm not going to have a tagline. I'm just going to, I've got hide site tagline ticked, which means it's not going to display a tagline. But what I want to do is instead of the name over there, I want a logo. So I've already created a logo and in canva.com, and so I can go and select logo down here, go to my media library, and as you can see, I've already uploaded my logos that I've created in Canva. Now I've made a very short video about how I made these logos. You can see they're not very sophisticated. These are basically just placeholder logos until I decide when I want to pay a graphic designer to make proper logos, if that's the case. But in this case, I'm just going to leave it. I don't even have visitors to my site yet. It's a brand new site, so we'll get to that later. So just behind me there is select. So I go, no, that is, yeah, that's the one I want. So, and also when you upload images to your WordPress website, just make sure that you've got something in the title there and alt text. So a description of the picture or the graphic. These are logos, but if you start writing articles and you upload pictures, just make sure you put a nice description in the title and alt tags at least, because that first of all helps with Google searches, and Google then indexes the images as well according to the keywords or whatever the descriptions are. But also, if these images can't be displayed on the visitor's browser for whatever reason, then at least it's going to show the description. And also for disabled people, sometimes who can't see the logos, then they can kind of get a description of the logo. Okay, so just get out of the way, select. There we go. So yeah, I'm happy with that. So you can see there we go. So I've got my logo up there. So now what I want to do is I want to go and hide the site title. There we go. There's my logo, right? So that's good. And I'm going to leave Retina logo. I'm not fussed with that. That's just I'm happy for these logos to be displayed as they are on the devices, mobile devices. The other thing I want to upload is a site icon. Now, it might sound a little bit misleading, but site icon is actually the little icon you see if you look at the top here, this panel. You see cPanel. I've got sort of cPanel open in a different window as well, but you can see that a little orange icon over there. So that is the icon that this site icon will display up there. So if somebody have a tab open for your website then or your blog, then this icon is going to appear over there. And also, when you look at your when you have your mobile device, your phone, and you open up browser tabs, you browse the internet, and then you can go to back to the area where it shows you all the tabs that you've got open on your mobile. Then this logo will display there as well for your site. So it's quite handy to have it. It's a 500 by 500 or 512 by 512 pixel icon. I usually just make it 500 by 500. You can look at the logo video that I've made. So select. Yeah, I'm happy with that. There we go. So you see, that's what they call it, sort of an app icon. That's what it will look like. So it'll look fine. Okay. So once I've made these changes, I'm happy with it. These are all the only changes I'm going to make on site identity. I click publish. Just remember to click publish every time you've made changes. And I go back. So the next thing we want to look at is layout. So just go one down, click on layout, and we have containers. So container really is, if you can see, if it's sort of clear on your screen, you'll see that there's a white box here where this text is, and then the background is gray. And then you've got a search box, a recent post box, and recent comment box. So these are kind of, and then you've got, you know, these are all containers, and then you've got your whole site as a container as well. Now, what I like to do is, you see there's sort of a split between these containers. What I like to do is sort of make it look a little bit more seamless. And later on, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this background that's gray, I'm going to make that white as well. So it's just nice and clean. So what I'm going to do here is the width. I'm just going to keep. I'm keeping a lot of the defaults that's in there, and only changing, you know, a small amount of things that I want to customize. I just find that the default setup is absolutely fine. So here under separate containers, I'm just going to go and select one. Now keep an eye on these bits between the blocks there. So if I do one container, you see now it's all white here. Even though they're still separated, you just can't see the borders or the bits in between, but you still can see the gray bits on the sides and the bottom and the footer here, but we're going to take care of that later. And that's it. That's all I want to change here. I click publish just for the changes to take effect, and then I go back. So the next thing I want to look at is header. Now the header area is this bit at the top here. Now okay, so where it says sample page there, that's basically what your menu is going to look like. Now we only have one menu item because we only have one page at the moment. But your menu items, the way this is, the layout is set here is this, your menu will be sort of in line here, aligned to the right. And your logo is currently aligned to the left. Now, what I like to do is just the only thing I'm going to change here basically is my header presets. And what I like to do is navigation after centered. I like to use that one. So you see what it does now is it centers my logo in the middle of the screen, and then with the menu below the logo. So I like, you can play around with all these options, but you know, I like this look. So what will happen is on a desktop, on a laptop or a PC or a Mac or whatever, when you look at it, it will have the logo in the middle at the top there, and it'll have the menu items down here. And on a mobile device, it'll still have the logo in the middle, but it'll just have the little menu box, you know, the little box with the 3 lines that you tap, and then it opens up the menu. So I like that. Yeah, there we go. So that's what the mobile, so yeah, I said, so yeah, at the bottom centered, it will have the menu. So you can just tap the menu there and it'll open up. So let's go back to our desktop view. Okay, and that's all I want to do in the header section. Just sort of tidy that up a little bit. Publish for the changes to take effect. And there we go. Now, primary. So I'm not going to open up all of these, but basically for primary navigation, sidebars, footer and blog, I'm going to keep things the same. And let me just quickly check here. Actually, do you know what? I'm going to change something in no, because you see the sidebar over here. I like the search bit over there, that's fine. I like recent posts, that's fine. Recent comments, later on I'm going to remove recent comments, but I don't do it here. I do it later on. There's a widget setting, and we'll get to that. But recent comments, I don't like that there, because I'm not going to allow comments on my blog. For a while now, on any of my websites or blogs or whatever, I don't allow comments because you know, people don't really comment on things anymore. You just pick up spam you know, spammy stuff really. And, you know, so I don't, it's not worth it. Maybe if, you know, if you run a kind of community site or something like that, it's a different story. But personally, I don't like making comments available. So I just take it off. Okay, so that's it, layout. Now the next thing we're going to get to is colors. So this is where we set the theme for our site. The first thing I'm going to look at is the body section. Now you see here you've got global colors. I'm not going to touch this, but just something to note about global colors. These are basically the colors of your theme. Now, if you like these default colors, then by all means keep them. But what I've done is for my Doggo info site, you can already see that sort of orangey browny color. So I've got that, and I've got a olivey sort of dark green color and like an off-white color. So those are the three main colors I'm going to use for my site. So what I'd like to do is maybe change things so that my global colors are set so that it's consistent, you know, with my color theme that I selected. Now what you can do is to look at color themes. You can, again, this is just something you can simply Google. Google something like color palettes for websites, or, you know, color palettes or whatever, you know. And what you'll get is you'll get some sites with palettes of color that goes together, and then you can just scroll through, see what you like, and just note down the color codes. So that's what I've done. So if I go to body, my background, now you can see the gray bits over there. And what I do is I just reselect that. And what I do is I just select the true white color, the hash, and then all the Fs. And once I've done that, it should be, oh, here we go. So that one there we go. So you see now you have a pure white screen. No, it's not breaking it up into the gray bits, and that's what I like. Sort of nice and clean screen there. You know, these days the more sort of clean and minimalist you can keep it, the better. Just look at Google's search screen. You know, it's just so clean compared to maybe Bing or something like that. Okay, so text is black. Now black is really a good color, actually. I don't know if I should mess around with that, but I do have, I'm just looking over here to try and grab my color, one of my colors that I have. So let me just put that in there. So that's the color that I wanted to use. Yeah, so you can't, I mean, it's difficult to see because it's a very dark kind of green, olive sort of green color. You can hardly see it, but I'm just wondering if I should just keep black. You know, it's always good to just keep plain black and then that's it, but I'm going to leave that like it is at the minute. I'm going to change the header to the same color as well, just for consistency. So link, so you've got two link colors here. You've got a initial link color, so you can see here it's blue, and then you've got the hover over color, which is black. So you can see here if I go and I hover over that, it turns black. Now what I want is I want my link color the same as my no, I want it the orangey bit. So I want my link colors the same color as I've got my logo. So you can see your logos over there, and then you have you see at the top here the tab doggoinfo.com. That's what that square logo looks like when it's up there. It looks quite nice. Okay, so I want to make my links the same color as that, you know, just to sort of make it all nice and sort of let it fit in. Let me see if I can select that here. So so this is the initial link color. So let's make that the sort of orangey color that I talked about. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Some people may say it looks naff, but yeah, it's okay. Hover over. Shall we just keep it like that, or shall we make it our green color? I think let's make it our green color again. Copy my color code. So let's have a look. Yeah, I like that. Yeah. So I think I'm going to keep that. So you see, it kind of flows in with the logos. You've got the logo there, and then sort of, you know, you've got your text, and then you've got the links. So the links that this include links within your text, they will be that color as well. You know, this orange color as well. So let's have a look at our header. I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to close the body down. So header, I'm going to keep things default there for now. You can always come back later and change your global colors if you spot something off, but for now I'm just going to keep a header. Primary navigation text. Do you know, I want it sort of all the same as this this sort of greeny color that I have. So I'm just going to keep it consistent. So this is the hover color. Now I'm going to make the hover color the orange that I said. So do you know what? I keep looking to the side here to copy my colors, but what I could have done is I could actually go in here and add my global colors. Just click on there. Oh dear, what's that? I guess that's what happened there. Let's try again. Nope, doesn't want to do it. Anyway, I'm not going to mess around with that for now. But you can add your global colors. Anyway, this is just a one-off thing, so I'm just going to do it over here. And yeah, so I've got, you see there, so it's the sort of greeny color, and then if I hover over it, it turns into that orange color. And then I think the current color, I think, is when it's clicked, it will have that color. So maybe keep it blue. Blue is not one of my colors, so no. So what I want to do is I want to no. So if it's clicked, what do we want? So we go with the greeny color again. Yeah, why not? On a mobile phone, you can't see it anyway. Okay, that's it. So that is the bit. I'm not going to mess around with submenus and things like that. I don't think I'm going to include submenus. So let me just save what I've got so far. And that is the primary navigation. Now for buttons, the same thing. In Generate Press, you know, when you write your posts, you can include a button widget. So what I'm going to currently, your buttons is the initial color of the button when it appears on the screen is this color, and then, you know, this is the, you know, when you hover over it. So I want to keep it consistent with my links. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my orange color again. So I'm going to go in here, I'm going to have a look and do that. And then if I hover over it, I want it in the green color again. So so if I have a button in here, it will come out in orange, and the text is going to be white, so it should show up okay on these colors. And then so the color of the button is that sort of orangey color, browny color, and then when you hover over it, it turns black, and just to show that you're selecting it. So that's it. So content, I think, do you know what, I think it might be a little bit overwhelming if we start playing around with content colors. You don't want it to look totally psychedelic or like a circus. You want to sort of keep it nice and neat. Maybe stick to 2 primary colors, and that's it really, and then black and white. It just looks a little bit more clean. So I'm going to keep all the rest of this. I'm going to keep the defaults just as it is for now. We can always come back and change things around. Just finally, I'm just going to go publish again just to make sure I caught all the changes, and that's it. So typography is just what your fonts will look like on your site. And again, the GeneratePress theme comes with quite a nice font. As you can see there, it's nice and clear. You can read it on a mobile phone, on a mobile device, tablet. It is quite easy to read. It's quite clear. So no issues there really. But I like the Roboto font. I think it's one of the Google fonts, or it is one of the Google fonts. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into my font manager. So if you want to veer off the default font that the theme offers, and again, I can just go ahead and keep this font. It is really nice. But what I'll do is I'll just show you, if you want different font, a different font on your site, then this is how you do it. Okay, so add font. So let's have a look if we can find Roboto. So it's under Google Fonts. So let's have a look. So I'm just going to go with the plain Roboto. And that's it. I'm just going to leave the rest as it is here. I'm just going to say add font. So there we go. So I've added my Roboto font. So there it is. So that's it. Now the next thing I want to do is I want to add to my typography manager. Now this is the area where you decide where this font goes and where it displays. So I've now, first you have to select your font or choose a font, then go to add typography manager or add typography. So what I want to do is, first of all, I want my headers, the body text, I want to be Roboto. So you see you've got your system default there. So I've got Roboto as well now available. So I'm going to choose Roboto. Again, keeping all the settings, the default settings, just keep it like it is. And so that's that for the body. So I've added that there now. So the next thing I want to do is I want to have a look at headers. So site title, I'm going to choose Roboto. And so site title, site description, I'm going to choose Roboto. So all the basic things that so I've got in my header, I've got the title, I've got this description. Let's see what else we can do here. So my primary menu items, I'm going to choose Roboto, because what we want is we want everything to be in the font that we've chosen. If you have different, maybe your brand kit consists of 2 or 3 different fonts, and that's okay. Maybe one for a header and one for the body, and then another font for things like excerpts or quotes or something like that. And that's all fine. But for my blogs, I just keep it simple, just keep it to one font, because you'll later on see that the Generate Press theme, if you include a quote block in your post, then it already formats it to look like a quote, you know, with the sort of different sort of text and a sort of little sidebar and things like that. So that's quite nice. So we are in our sub menus. I'm not going to bother with that. So for buttons, I want buttons to be Roboto as well. And so you can see here it's just sort of going through things a little bit. All headings, I'm really just changing, you know, everything because I don't always know exactly where these things are displayed. So I know that definitely I have H1 headings, but it should cover, all headings should cover that. Now I know that I make extensive use of heading 2 or H2s, so I'm just going to make doubly sure that I catch that one, get the correct font. Now I just want to make sure that I've got the body text, so it's got body there, which I've already set, but I want to just make sure that no, yeah, so that was that body setting was the body text, so that's fine. I can see it's Roboto already. So just for the widgets, so widget titles, widget, by the way, are these things you see here, like a search widget, recent post widget, and so on. And that's just areas you can add to your sidebar or footer and so on. So for widgets, I'm just going to put set the top bar to my Roboto, and I want to go to widget titles, and let's see if we've missed anything. I'm going a bit fast through this, but you can play around with this. You can sort of spend some time. It's just a one-off thing that you do, but once you've done it, it's set for your whole site. And then all you have to do, once you've set up your site with its basic configuration, then all you have to do is just go and post on it and create pages and things like that. So then you're done. Anyway, I think I'm done here. So let me just save stuff before I lose anything. Now, the next thing I'm going to do, let's go back here. So we're done with typography. So for general, again, I'm not going to go in there. I'm just keeping everything default for general, but you know, you can see the options. There are not many options, but just keep it default there. For menus, I'm going to keep it default for now because I don't really have a menu, and it's already at the top there, so I'm happy with that. So, but you know, as we create pages or categories or things that we want to put in our or about us page or something like that, then we can start looking at setting up our menus. So widgets, let's have a look at widgets. Rightio, so I've got a right sidebar here, and got it. So you can see here at the moment when I click on right sidebar, I've got these widgets over here, and I've got recent posts, and I've got recent comments. Now what I want to do is I want to get rid of recent comments. I want to get rid of, you know, these things. Now I can just go in here and let me just see if this is, yeah, these looks like it. Oh, there we go. So it's sort of this one section here, and what I can do is I can click here and just say remove the group. But I think I can do it here as well. So if you click on the blue pencil or the blue pen, yeah, it will automatically select that. And then once you're here, you can just go to the little menu item there, the ellipsis, click on it and say remove group. And there we go. So that's all I want for now, recent posts and search. Okay, so just your sort of, I think the top five recent posts are going to appear here, you know, just to put something in the sidebar. And later on, what we could do is once we've created our categories and things like that, we can put in another widget on the side here which just lists our categories. So people can then, so in the dog niche, I might have a category on dog training. I might have a category on dog nutrition. I might have a category on dog behavior, or anxiety or whatever. So, but that's for later. So for now, I'm happy with that. I'm just going to click publish. And once I've saved that, I go back to my main screen here. So I've taken care of the right sidebar, and I think I'm going to keep the rest of these widgets as they are. We've got some footer widgets which we'll get to later, and I'm going to sort of change things in the footer as well. But I'm just going to leave that as it is for widgets. Now, the one that we have, we've got a couple more left here. One is homepage settings. So I like to keep my homepage. So your homepage is basically this page that you see here, where when somebody comes to your website, then that's the page that they see. And I like to set it so that my homepage contains the latest posts. So there we go. We have our latest posts over here, and at the moment I have only one post, which is just the sort of basic default post that the theme comes with. But as I add posts, they're going to sort of start adding to the front page, and then after, I think, a few 5 or 10 or whatever, it's going to start sort of showing pages at the bottom to sort of go to the next page of posts and so on. Or what you could do is you could have a static page. So you can set up a page called home page, and then on that page you could maybe have a nice design as to what your site is about. Maybe put some images in there about the sort of categories that you have on your site or whatever. But for this blog, for now, I just like to keep my latest posts on the front page. And then the last item in here is additional CSS. So that is just sort of cascading style sheets, and if you know about CSS, you can add some snippets of code CSS in here to run, to add bits of configuration and formatting to your site. I'm not going to do that. I don't have a need for that at the moment. But yeah, I think on the GeneratePress theme, you get a paid version, you get a free version. Now, this is the free version of GeneratePress. And I think your options are a bit limited. For instance, just an example, for your posts, you have a month, you have a year, you have a month, the date, the year, and by author. Now, I think the free theme is limited in what you can display here. So say I only wanted to display by author, whoever the author is, and I didn't want to include the date because maybe it's evergreen content, and if people see an old date, they may get put off, even though the content is still very relevant. So say I just want my author bit in here. On the paid theme, I think there's an option. On the free theme, like this one, there's not. So for instance, I can just then grab a piece of CSS code, which on every page and every view will remove the date, and it will just include the author, and I just stick that piece of CSS code in there, and then that's it. Whenever your site runs, you'll only see the author. So that's just an example of CSS. Okay, so we are pretty much done with this bit over here. So I can just go back, so X out of that. So the next bit or the final piece we're going to look at is just our general settings. So if I go down here, I click on general settings, and you can see you've got general, you've got writing, reading, discussion, media, hyperlinks, and so on. Okay, so here you can just set your site details. So we've already set our site title. I'm just calling it Doggo Info. You can add a tagline if you like. And then your WordPress, you've got a WordPress URL, you've got a site address URL. Now, if you remember from the video that I've done with the one-click installer for WordPress, what we did was we installed it under the URL https www, and I actually recommended that because later on, you know, we're going to use it for site speed optimization and just how it works with the Lightspeed plugin and the Quick Cloud configuration. So you can always come back and change it here, and then, you know, I wouldn't recommend doing it later on once your site is, you know, fully up and running and so on. I would, you know, decide and do this at the very beginning, because it may affect the way that, you know, if Google already indexed your pages or already have page links, then it may affect things there. So let's go down here. We've got our admin email. So I've already also created an email in my cPanel, in my control panel of my hosting account. I've created an email called contact@doggoinfo.com. So that is my main. But, you know, if you don't, if you have a different email address like a Gmail or whatever, you know, you can just put it in there. And this is just for your administrative purposes. You know, if there's anything going on with your site, or if WordPress, if anything happens, if there's, for instance, an update available or whatever, you get emailed by the system on that email address. Now we get to membership. Unless you run a membership blog, you know, you can play around with memberships. I don't allow any registrations or memberships, you know, on it's just a dog information blog. So I'm just going to leave that blank. And we're going to come down to the date format. Now I'm based in the UK, so I like my date to start with the day, the month, and the time. You know, again, I think it's only relevant really if you're going to display the dates of your posts on your blog. In fact, do you know what? Even though I'm in the UK, my site my intention is, because it's a .com domain and so on, my intention is for the site to be visible all across the world, of course, you know, being the internet and all. But most of the visitors would probably be from the US anyway. So let's keep the date sort of September 22nd, 2022. You know, even though I'm going to later on get rid of the date. So you can also set your time format, and I'm happy with that. And work week starts on Monday. Yep. So save changes, and then that's it. So what we can do now is go to writing, and default post category. Now I haven't added any categories to my blog yet, so just leave that one uncategorized. Default post format, I'm just going to keep that standard, because, you know, that is the way that when we customize, or when we set our custom settings on the bit before, when we went to appearance and went to customize the theme, we're just going to use that standard format. So mail server, so you can also send posts to your blog via email. So you can type up an email and email it to a certain email address, and then that sort of automatically post to your blog. I never do that. I like to always come in manually and you know, paste in my post that I've written up on Word, spell checked, Grammarly and all that. And then I just paste it into my WordPress blog, and then I just sort of configure the headings and, you know, make it nice and neat. So I never use this feature, but you can send posts via email. Update servers, I just leave that like it is. So I haven't made any changes, so I don't have to save anything. Reading. Homepage again displays my latest post. Yep, that's the way I like it. So blog pages show at most 10 posts. So on my homepage, for instance, yeah, it's going to have a list of 10 posts. But again, if you click on, if you have a category link and somebody click on that, you know, how many posts you're going to show on that page before you start scrolling, then it's 10 posts. So I like to keep that default. And for each post in a feed, include the full text or an excerpt. I like to keep the full text. And search engine visibility. I don't want to discourage search engines, so I want them to find my site. So yeah, that's good. So I haven't changed anything, so I don't have to save it. So discussion. Now, like I said, I don't like to make comments available on my blog. So I'm just going through these options just to check what I can tick or untick to make that happen. So allow people to submit comments on new posts. So I just untick that. So now they can't comment on my posts. And users must be registered and logged in to comment. Well, that's pretty much irrelevant if you don't let people comment in the first place. I think that's it. Anyone email me? Yeah, so I still just want to email when, you know, anyone posts, even though they can't. But, you know, just because sometimes what happens is you get these bots running around the internet accessing your PHP files or whatever, and then sort of, you know, triggering a post that way. But, you know, that hardly happens because, of course, you know, we've got security running on our web servers, and, you know, which constantly checks for anything trying to access files on the servers or actually trying to get in. So we have that protection there. Yeah, that's it. So I'm not going to mess around too much with this anymore. So media, I'll just keep that default. And permalink. So this is the next thing that we want to set. So just change this. For some reason, the default is that when you post on your blog, then it's gonna make that post name the URL for the post. And ideally what you want post name to be the permalink setting. So in other words, it's just going to be your site.com/ and then your post name, and that's all you want. That is sort of nice and easy. Now, for some reason, the default on WordPress is to include the date / month / day, year, month, day, and then your post name. So I don't like that. I like to keep it on my post name, because that also makes it easier for search engine optimization and for search engines to sort of index your site nicely and so on. If you have super time sensitive or date time, like news type of thing, then yeah, maybe you want that, but no. I just like to keep it open to just the post name. And of course, you can have a custom structure, so you can build your own post name with these variables that you see down here. But for my blogs I set up, I just like to keep the post name as the extension, the permalink, and that's it. Save changes. And then lastly, privacy. So if you're going to run analytics, like which we are going, or I'm going to do on this blog, I'm going to install Google Sitekit with Google Analytics, Search Console, and things like that to track visitors to your site, you know, just to see what kind of traffic you're getting to your site, and, you know, what people are doing on your site, behaviors, you know, where they come in and how they then navigate through your site. So in order to have those things, you need to track people with cookies, and so it's important that you have a privacy policy on your site. Now in here you get a default privacy policy. You can create one. So you know, it's just so easy to do it like this. Your current privacy policy page, WordPress have already put a privacy policy page in your blog, and you can say use this page. So if I click use this page, it's going to use it. So let's just quickly look at our pages, what they've done. So if I go to pages, so there's a difference between pages and posts. So pages are the more sort of static content where you explain stuff and, you know, things for policies and so on. Posts are things like, you know, just your sort of everyday your news articles, or your information articles that you post, going there. I can talk about the difference between pages and posts maybe in a different video, but a privacy policy is a page on your site. So if you go into that page, let me just close this. So you see here, you can actually use this, just read through it, but you'll see that each paragraph starts with suggested text. So just make sure that you remove that suggested text bit there, and then you can just use the default privacy policy. Also make sure that there is mention of analytics in there, and I can't really tell you how to write your privacy policy, because, you know, it depends on what kind of blog you're running, what kind of website you're running, and things like that. And there may be some, you know, like terms and conditions and, you know, all sorts of things that you need to include. But for sure, you know, just Google privacy policy text for Google Analytics or whatever, just to make sure that if you use analytics plugin, that you cover that in your policy as well. You know, especially with the data protection stuff, your GDPR and so on in Europe, you just want to make sure that you cover all of those things. So yeah, we've gone through settings, we've gone through our basic site setup, and you know, the privacy policy page, and I think that's really it. That's really it for this video. So any questions, let me know, and I'll see you next time.